I think we're entering the darkest hour for Black America ever. I do think that what we're about to enter is going to be worse than slavery. And the big reason for that is because people aren't even aware of how unfree they are at this point in time.
This is my second attempt at this video. There are helicopters everywhere.
They jumped a black man in Tennessee. They're arresting black men in Chicago. And they had our children zip tied. And if I'm not mistaken, one of my mutuals talked about how they said they were going to let them go if they didn't have a warrant for their arrest. But why are children being zip tied?
Are they desperately trying to put black people back in chains? There's quite a lot of speculations about the intentions and the future plans of the white supremacists for black people. And with the incidences like that happened in Chicago, where ICE invaded a predominantly black apartment complex, detained people in the night, moreover, in the guise that they were looking for Venezuelan gangs, right? But then even when these people showed proof that they're actually Americans, they were still detained for a good amount of hours, kids zip tied and all of that, right? So a lot of black people are in here telling and alerting the black community that these are dark times and there's just so much that we need to look at. You don't need to like ignore the red flags because they are all laid up in our sides. Other communities are using this as we told you so, but I think black people actually told you so. They told you that they've always been the target. There's no news in here. But hey, I think there's just quite a lot of reactions that we have to look at in here. Welcome back to the channel. If you're new, thank you so much for your support to me on here. Big shout out to my members. They do me amazing. I want us to look at these reactions. We'll come back and talk about it. And I will let you know the bigger picture of what we, the global south, thinks and sees about you, black people in America, and what our commitment is in all of this. Don't go away. Let's watch, come back and talk about it. Do me a favor, like the video. Don't forget to share, subscribe to the channel as well. I'll be back with more.
I think we're entering the darkest hour for Black America ever. I do think that what we're about to enter is going to be worse than slavery. And the big reason for that is because people aren't even aware of how unfree they are at this point in time. We are actually all more fucked than Assata Shakur, like all of us. And like I said, I've been on a watch list since I was 13. I'm not gonna go into why that is, but I've been on a domestic terrorist watch list since I was a child. Assata Shakur was also on was labeled a domestic terrorist, and Trump just signed an executive order to basically label all of us on this app as domestic terrorists. But what's even worse is that right now we actually have less organization, less movement, less capacity, less commitment than at any point in American history. Because people think, well, as long as I get money, I'll be fine. They're gonna run up in your job, sis. They're coming in your job to snatch you. And I don't talk about this a lot, you know, because being a black woman with foresight, much in the same vein as Octavia Butler, I've been telling y'all this since 2020. Like 2019, I was like, oh, pattern recognized. Handmaid's Tale is actually not as bad as it's going to be. Because Handmaid's Tale is actually just what it's going to be for, like, wealthy white women. Do you guys realize the rest of us are going to them camps? And the craziest thing is y'all are like, they're not going to get me, they're not going to get me. They're going to get you. You don't even know how to survive in the woods. How the f*** do you think Assata got to Cuba? Like, how do you think she physically moved her body to Cuba? How do you, like, You don't have not a singular survival skill. You're not a part of a single organization. You don't have no friends. You are a worker drone. You're a worker drone in a country that has decided that you are a domestic terrorist. You can't put your head down any further and avoid the scrutiny of Big Brother's eye. His eye is on us all, you guys. And it's frustrating. Here's what I'm going to say. I've been feeling called to leave social media. I no longer see any value that this app has, and I encourage all of you to leave social media and go outside. That, I think social media is actually hindering us from movement building, from actual organizing. It is taking too much of our time. It is distracting us. It is distracting, because even organizers think they need to be on social media to reach people. No, that is not what the purpose of this app is, and it's not going to work in that sense. I think all of us need to wake up. It's time to like snap back to reality, and get serious, because once you tip the scale, which has been tipped, but once you tip the scale from, if I do everything right, if I assume a submissive position, if I do not resist, and if I go along to get along, I will still be captured by the state. You now have no choice but you have to now resist. I'm not going to say too much, but that is where we are. Or be content to die in the camp. Those are the only two options. And I think it's really hard for humans to like process like long-term situation, reality. But like, if you're not leaving the country, if you don't have at least $75,000 in cash right now, you cannot get out this motherfucker. I'm telling you right now, you're stuck here with us. And yeah, if you don't have the money to leave, you're stuck here. You're gonna get either captured, or you're gonna, like, that's it. Like, that's it. Because none of us they have a record. They know who is a Nazi and who's not. And most of you are not Nazis. So you're gonna end up in the camp. And this is a country that has no problem committing G-sides. I need y'all to wake up. We are at the point where all of us must either commit revolutionary suicide or prepare to go the way of that young woman in V for Vendetta. I'm giving you as much game as I can give you. Okay? That's it, that's all. That's it. There's quite literally only two options. And I need y'all to choose. I need you to make a choice today. Today's the day. If you were looking for the day of, oh my God, are we gonna do it or not? It's today. Today.
This is my second attempt at this video. There are helicopters everywhere. Ooh, my head hurt. There are helicopters everywhere, and I have managed to dodge getting snatched twice today. So I picked my kids up early and I came home. I'm saying this because it seems like the people around me who aren't in this situation aren't taking this serious, and then there are people who live here who aren't taking this seriously. But there's been a helicopter hovering over my building for the past week or so. At first I thought it was because somebody got but today I seen another one, but the helicopter looked different. It was like the National Guard, or it just wasn't a regular helicopter. I'm afraid because I am out here by myself. They're pulling children out of school. They're throwing tear gas. They're snatching families up. If I go missing, I am not suicidal. I am not trying to run away from my family. And I have not gone into hiding. We have been advised to stay in the house. My family is in need of food. I was gonna go to the pantry tomorrow. I'm strongly debating that. I don't know if y'all hear that. That's another helicopter. They're coming. They have been hovering over my building. They are coming. It is predominantly Black and Hispanic in the building and in the community that I stay in. I don't give a fuck a bitch disparaging my name on the internet. I don't. I don't. If you are in the area and you are a parent and if you want to organize, please inbox me. I will be checking my inbox. I don't know what to do, but that doesn't mean that I have to do nothing. I'm not. So
they're using immigration as a pretext, exactly like I said they would do. This is why we said citizenship is on the ballot. They chose 10 p.m. because that is where you have maximum occupancy in a residential building to come in there, no fucking warrants. So the due process shit is out the window. You're supposed to have probable cause to enter a person's home. All that shit's out the window now. This is an attack on our communities, on Black people. To separate children, to zip tie children, that is barbaric behavior. And this is why you can't only care about citizens and, well, that's how they treat immigrants, because they don't give a about your citizenship or your humanity. So they are traumatizing people, they are terrorizing people, and they are detaining people overnight. This is a school night. You have children separated from their parents. And like I said, with these checkpoints, remember we talked about the checkpoints in DC and they're supposedly ICE checkpoints. But remember how I also pointed out that if they are running background checks on you, they're not just checking, oh, okay, you got your real ID, you a citizen, oh, you got your birth certificate, okay. No, they are hunting for reasons to incarcerate Black people. They don't see you as a person they have to do their due diligence for. When they make a mistake, they do not take any kind of efforts to rectify it. The property damage that they did, they're not going to come and say, oh, okay, well, here's a check. Here you go. No, they go, y'all assed out. So they destroy the property. They take things. That's now left for these residents to be burdened with. These are people's homes at 10 o'clock at night. What kind of urgent law enforcement business is needed for an entire building? This is like when Nino Brown took over the fucking projects. I forget the name of it, the building.
In New Jack City.
In New Jack City shit. But this is real life. This is real fucking life. And there is unchecked power. With that being said, I said in 2023, when I was on Chicago radio, and I mentioned this earlier this week,
Yes,
the
you did.
thing I heard on the radio, trans immigrant. We have to be careful about taking political action that we think is punishing the they, them, the others, because you should always know that shit is going to boomerang right the fuck back on us.
I understand why some majority in the Black community was against me defending people of color, Latino, Hispanics, Asians, etc. Because many of them feel that people of color do not care about the Black community as much as the Black community cares about people of color. And to an extent, that is true. I understand, and their feelings are justified. However, in many parts in Black history, we also had POC allies, whether that be Native Americans, Hispanics and Latinos, Caribbeans, Asians, etc. Even Italians in the early and mid-19th century in New York City, San Francisco, and Los Angeles, California, even we had alliances with them. The point is, we didn't do everything alone, and that's something that goes untalked about in American history and Black history. Because, say it with me, Black history is American history. When I found out that Black Americans in Chicago was being detained by ICE, it was heartbreaking, but it wasn't surprising because I knew for an absolute fact they was going to come for us next. First, it was Latinos and Hispanics, so they were targeting them first. Then it was Muslims. Then they attacked Asians, and now they are attacking us. It was a part of their program. Solidarity and establishing relationships with other people of color is incredibly vital in order to survive this. If we're going to win against this corrupted government, I promise you, us being separated as we are now is not going to help. There are more of them than there are of us. But if we all come together as one, we overpower them. We outnumber them. It is the old and classic divide and conquer tactic. If they see that all the minorities are divided and no longer united, they're going to take that as an opportunity to pick us off one by one. I'm trying to tell y'all, bro, I have not been wrong once. Ever since this man came into office, I've been right every single time. I really hope that the Black people that was detained by ICE in Chicago is all right, and yet at the same time, I fear for their life and where they will end up at. Because now their lives are in grave danger. I'll see y'all in the next one.
I spoke to one woman who actually lives in this building, and she says she was detained by ICE agents overnight, and she says they took everyone and then asked questions later.
They just treated us like we were nothing.
Patricia Fisher says she came out to the hallway of her apartment complex on the corner of 75th and South Shore Drive in her nightgown around 10 Monday night, only to find ICE agents yelling police.
It was scary because I've never had a gun put in my face. They asked my name and my date of birth and asked me did I have any warrants, and I told them no, I didn't.
She says she was then handcuffed and released around 3 a.m. Fisher says she was told if anyone had any kind of warrant out for them, even if it was unrelated to immigration, they would not be released.
Back in June, I told y'all this would happen. You're about to see Haitians, our people, get pulled from their moms, from their homes, from workplaces, from immigration meetings. You're going to see the same thing that you just saw happen to brown people, you're about to see happen to black people. Let me tell you what happens next now. You're going to see more headlines like this. And then you will start seeing black U.S. citizens being mistaken for Haitians and being deported. It's going to happen. I told y'all came for me in my comments. You told me, oh, we're the 92%. Haitians don't like us anyway. And everyone who said that, I said, you think that the Border Patrol give a fuck if you Haitian or not? You think they could tell the difference? We all black to them. They don't care.
Neighbors like Ebony Watson says they ducked for cover as they heard several flashbangs go off.
They was terrified. The kids was crying. People was screaming. They looked very distraught. I was out there crying when I seen the little girl come around the corner because they was bringing the kids out too. Had them zip tied to each other. That's all I kept asking. Where's the morality? Where's the human? One of them literally laughed. He was standing right here. He said, them kids.
And maybe now you'll listen to me because this is what needs to happen next to stop this from happening, because if we don't make the correct moves, this will continue to happen in poor black neighborhoods. Learn who your state representatives are. Learn who the mayor of your city is. Learn your state attorney general. Find out what they support. Do they lean left or right? Find out their contact information. You need to be emailing and calling them saying, hey, what happened here? Do you support that? Because if you do, we're going to make sure with every inch of power that we have that you never get reelected again. That's the only way that these people are going to listen. We hold the power. We cannot just sit down and wait and say we voted every 4 years and not 92% is enough. You don't know who your state representatives are. You don't know anything, and you just know you showed up every 4 years. And y'all came for me for that, and look what's happening now. And I'm so pissed off because I am telling you, it's going to keep happening if you don't do this. I'm in the blue state. I know who my attorney general is. I know who my state representatives are. I know who my governor is. And I know ain't no damn way they letting that happen in the state of New Mexico. But in your state, you need to find out.
We're under siege. We're being invaded by our own military.
The FBI did confirm this morning that they did help the U.S. Border Patrol carry out a targeted immigration enforcement operation in this area, and they say they have been supporting these efforts at the direction of the U.S. Attorney General.
So once again, I am proven correctly. You cannot pick and choose when to fight white supremacy, because when you do, it opens the door up for the next man.
Now ICE is targeting us. They jumped a black man in Tennessee. They're arresting black men in Chicago. And they had our children zip tied. And if I'm not mistaken, one of my mutuals talked about how they said they were going to let them go if they didn't have a warrant for their arrest. But why are children being zip tied? Black people, I need y'all to hear me and hear me good. These people want to see your blood. They are going to bring 1,600 to 2025. They already had men out here that don't look like us dressing up as ICE agents, going and kidnapping some of the Hispanic women and essaying them. What do you think they're going to do to you? What we going to do? Because fighting back is not an option. That's going to end up bad if we go up against the military. There's a reason, black people, they made sure you would not have a military. So when they get back on their transatlantic slave trade energy, you can't fight them back. This is not going to end well.
I'm not surprised that ICE is detaining black people in Chicago. This has always been a movement against minorities, not only against us Latinos. And it's white supremacy coming into fruition. We know that this is a mass attack on everyone that is not white. So I'm not surprised at all. And this is why, the young lords and the Black Panthers marched back in the fucking 60s and the 70s, because we knew that our causes were one and the same. And we need to do the same fucking thing. Black people and brown people and Latinos, we need to unite. We need to understand that this is a full frontal attack on all minorities. It's going to get really fucking bad. And you have the governor of like fucking Chicago and everyone saying, hey, make sure that you take pictures of these people when they're doing these illegal arrests, that you're documenting everything, because this is like full on Third Reich shit. It's getting really bad, bro. We need to win the midterms next year. If we don't do that, this dude is like a maniac. Trump is like full on crazy at this point. And all their MAGA nut jobs are supporting him, and it's one of the saddest things in the planet. But yeah, black people, be aware of it. We need to work together because this is not looking good.
So I'm gonna need you to explain it to me like I'm 10. I want you to really break this down to me like I'm 10 years old and tell me why ICE agents zip tying black babies in Chicago, because I can't for the life of me understand why this happened. Why was this necessary? These are black babies, American citizens living in Chicago, but ICE agents are zip tying them because they pose a threat to who? They are a danger to what? I need you to explain this to me like I'm 10. Not only why did this happen, why is there not collective outrage behind it? Why is this not on the news? Why is this not being covered? Why is this not being talked about by almost anybody but a handful of Black people in this country?
And ICE attacked a Black neighborhood last night. Black apartment complex, detained pretty much everyone, destroyed those people's homes. Destroyed. I just got finished looking at videos and they took everything out of the refrigerator, threw it on the floor, broke windows, destroyed fences, destroyed doors, destroyed walls, damaged all of their personal belongings, just threw everything out. So why is ICE in a Black neighborhood looking for immigrants, I guess? They have moved on to getting a response from Black people because, like I said earlier, we don't have that many immigrants. They should be doing a big recruiting effort. We don't need all of these holding facilities and these jails. We don't have that many immigrants.
Back in June, I was called a tether by my own people because I was telling Black Americans that we are not absolved from the harms of ICE and that it's been important to advocate for immigrant community because the Americanist was never going to save us because they will see the Blackness first. I also said they're not going to be asking anybody for their IDs or their birth certificate. And here we are at the beginning of October, where a community of Black American people have been picked up by ICE. And not only were these Black Americans picked up and detained by ICE, but their entire building, their homes, their apartments were ransacked and left in complete disarray.
ICE is the police. We have always seen that when it comes to Black folks, that police tend to often get it wrong with us. They identify the criminality based on the rape. And y'all don't think that ICE does the same?
So let's be very clear. If you didn't know it then, maybe you'll learn it now. Solidarity in these times is what's going to save us. Coming together and recognize that we have the same boot on our necks will get us out of our egos and maybe the fortitude to protect each other. Because while folks make the joke, oh, where are they gonna send us to? We're American. You do know they don't give a damn. And that they've also been sending people to places outside of their home countries. And for those who have been paying attention, some folks get picked up and disappear. And that's very real.
Must I say that these are not only dark times for Black people and brown people alone, but these are dark times for the empire, for Babylon, yeah. And every effort that you see them putting down, that's a flight or a fear response. Because something bigger, this is something bigger, and I think people should know. This empire is crumbling. And if you have to use that much force onto your own citizens, I think that is a deeply hidden fear that you are afraid you are going down. And you know what? It's good that you are afraid, but you have not come to the exact full force of you being afraid. Because the storm that is coming to destroy Babylon is way bigger. Is way bigger than they think. For them to be afraid of minorities, Black people, brown people, yeah, just know they know that their organization is becoming weak. And for them to still show you that they are strong, this is what they are doing. That's a sign of weakness. If you as a leader, you cannot handle your country very well without literally invoking, the military into terrorizing people, that shows the kind of person that you are. That you cannot rule with intelligence. You can't rule with humanity. You know very well that without intimidation, you can't handle the country. But how many leaders that have come before this man, yeah, that ruled the countries and the country saw prosperity under their leadership without intimidating, without dividing the country, without being a threat to people's citizenship. I agree with most of the speakers that we have seen in here talking about how citizenship is no more grounds for you feeling secure in your country. It's out of the window. And I think for Black people, it's just, I think a few people that think they are free, Black people. A majority of the Black community already know that they are in this country, even if on the paper it says they are Americans. Law enforcement and white supremacy will always remind them that they are nothing, the way they get treated, right? So I don't think this came as a surprise to the black people. I understand the fear, the concern, the trauma, and all of that happens. That's a common response everyone, clings to when stuff like this happens. So for the outside community that thinks, oh, black people, we told you so. No, they told you so. They told you we've always been a target. That's why we wanted to vote to avoid this happening, not only to you, but also to us, because we have been going through this. And we try to protect you, not to feel what we feel and what we go through every other day of being in this country as minorities, right? And now you are coming back at us telling us we told you so. No, you did not. We told you. Yeah, we've always been the target. And they are trying not only to provoke a response, but they are literally coming into our complexes to, spite or whatever, because I feel like the agenda is even deeper. Imagine a leader that would rather build walls around his people, but then he's taking medical care away from his people. What is he trying to protect? So that nobody should know what is happening within the walls when the bodies are dropping, because you don't have medical care anymore. Is that the person that cares? So I think the bigger picture is not only the black community that everyone is looking at right now. You guys should start crying, because all these are red flags to show you that this empire no longer has what it takes to sustain itself. So it relies on intimidating people. Yeah. And I think I want to use this to remind the black community that watches me on here that the reason as to why there is diaspora wars is to make sure that you guys are isolated, so that me, an African who is from Uganda, cannot speak about such things when I see injustices being done, because I am so hurt. My emotions are so hurt by the bots that sit on the internet all day long to manufacture diaspora wars. That's why I don't give in to that. And when you see all these bots and every other person that is sold to white supremacy speaking BS on Black America and, the Black community in general, right? I'm not talking about people that are trying to hold the Black community accountable, because there's a difference between being held accountable and someone that literally just wants to spite you and just disrespect you. Yeah, I am talking about those specifically. When you look at that, I don't want your feelings to be hurt. Yeah, because they are trying to distract you from a bigger picture of what is happening. You have a global south over here, which is the black majority on the continent that sees. And I think this is my time to let you know, guys, that we know and we see what is happening to you. And I think to them, palm-colored people, we see what you are doing to our people. The global south is watching. That is why it is trying to get rid of all of you out of here, so that we cultivate an atmosphere that can be welcoming to black prosperity and black people in general. That's why you are realizing that a lot of black people are now realizing that global south has never been our enemy. They are coming back to the continent, right? So my people, we see what you are going through. Our leaders, we have good leaders too that spot and see the things that are happening to you. And when that time comes for them to come on our tables begging, you know exactly what is going to happen. I'm speaking about them. Because a time is coming when they are all going to be at our mercies. To be specific, I feel like they are targeting the black community because they want a response so bad so that they eliminate them. They will use all excuses and propaganda to lie. Oh, we are not after them. We are just after, the Venezuelans and all of that and that BS, right? But in reality, they are trying to provoke a response so bad. And I think that is what sucks about this whole administration. The guy is so upset about Obama because Obama united the country more than he has. There's something dark, but I want you, our people, to know that the world is watching, the rest of the states are watching, and you are not alone. You are not alone. Do whatever that you need to do to protect yourself, build a community. I think in one episode that I'll probably do later, I'll speak about that. Yeah, but I want you guys to stay strong. Stay strong, because one of the ways to weaken you is coming at your emotions and playing around that. Yeah, that's what they want to do, so that they weaken you emotionally. Do not accept to be broken by them, and do not give them what they are trying to get from you, because a lot of them are trying to make sure that they spite you, so that they find every reason to validate why they are putting you in prisons, to validate why they want to put you back into slavery. But this is 2025. Whatever they are planning, it's not going to prosper. I'm going to have to tell you, no weapon is forged against you, children of the Most High, is going to prosper. Let him do whatever that he wants to do. Yeah. And let me tell you, one thing that I also had forgotten about is the fact that, the reason as to why they want to even send in the military to predominantly black communities and put lethal forces, right, is because they know ICE has nothing on you. You know your rights. And you speak to them, you're like, I know my rights. Where is the warrant? And all these people that were just grabbed and picked from the streets, they can't handle that. Yeah, because you have a voice, you speak up. So they want to use someone that is going to silence you. Yeah, I don't want you guys to be afraid. I know the times are concerning, especially for the senior citizens that are like, oh my God, what times are these? Yes, the times are dark, but there is a bigger picture to this empire. The reason as to why it is treating its people like this is because, they know they are going down. Unity of all times is all we need. I told you the black community, the global majority, the global south is looking. And I am still saying to them supremacists, the global south is watching as well. Don't forget where you get your resources from. Don't forget. Do not forget where you get whatever you have. Okay? Yeah, we are watching how you treat our people. And when that time comes, and it is gonna come. It's not so far away. Yeah. If we have the likes of the Traores, if we have the likes of people in the Sahel region rising, expect that to happen very soon. But hey, stay safe out there. Stay strong. We are watching you. The rest of the world is amplifying your voices and what is happening to you guys. Yes, just for you to know that at least we are with you. I love all of you guys. I want you to stay safe out there. May God watch over you and protect you. I'll come back in another episode. I think for me for today, that's it. I do love all of you, and see you guys later. Bye.